In this video tutorial, I am going to solve Hackerank drawing book problem. So let me explain the problem first. The problem statement says, a teacher asks the class to open their books to a page number. So the student can either start turning the page from the first page or from the back page of the book. So they always turn the pages one at a time. When they open the book, page one is always on the right side, look like the picture here shown here. When they turn page one, they see page two. When they turn page one, they see page two and page three, and so on. Each page except the last page will always be printed on both sides, but the last page is only printed in one side. So the last page may only be printed on the front end given the length of the book. If the book is 10 pages long and the last page wants to turn to page P, what is the minimum number of pages to turn? They can start at the beginning or the end of the book, but only one at a time. Given N and P, find and print the minimum number of pages that must be turned in order to arrive at page P. For example, in this example below, the number of pages is 5 and the turning point page is 3. So if the student is turning from first page, they turn one page to arrive page 3. If the student starts turning from the last page, page 5, they turn one page to arrive page 3. So the minimum turning page to arrive page 3 is what? 1 in this case. So using the diagram above, if the students want to get to page 3, they open the book to page 1, they turn one page, they are on the correct page. If they open the book to the last page, they which means from page 5, they turn one page and are the correct page. So they return 1. This is the function description. Complete the page count function in the editor below, and page count has the following two parameters: n, the total number of pages in the book, and p is the page number to turn to, that the student is to turn to arrive. And they return the minimum number of pages to turn to arrive page p. And input formats look like this. So the value of n is included between 1 and 10 to the power of 5, and the value of p is between 1 and n, that included 1 and n. Here, this is the example, sample output. For example, the total number of page is 6 and the turning page is what? 2. P is 2. What will be the output? The minimum turning page. Either the student starts from page 1 or page 5. If the student starts turning from page 1, they only need to turn one page to arrive page 2. If the student starts turning from page 6, they need to turn 2 pages. Which means if they are in the total number of pages page 6, so the last page, the last page is printed only in one side. So we need to turn 2 pages only from page 5 and page 4 to arrive page 2. So they need to turn 2 pages to arrive page 2. So the minimum from the above is what? From 2 or 1. The minimum is 1, so the return 1. Let's try this example. Let's try this example. N is equal to 5 and P is equal to 4. So the output is 0. How it could be? Let's solve this. If the student starts turning from page 1, they need to turn 2 pages. How it could be? Which means from to arrive page 4, they turn page 2 and page 3 to arrive page 4, because the starting point is page 1 only. So page 1 is in the right side, already turned. So only we need to turn page 2 and page 3 to arrive page 4. Therefore, the front turn is what? The front turn is 2, which means the logic, in this case, the logic is what? To become to become 2. What is the logic to find the front turn? P is 4. We can the logic is that front turn equals to 4 minus 1 divided by 2. Then the value of 4 is the value of P. We replace front turn equals P, sorry, not minus, I made a mistake here. Only 4 divided by 2, it becomes 2. No any subtraction in this case. So which means P is the value of P is what? 4. We replace 4 by P divided by 2. This is the logic. If the value of P is even, which means P if P modulus 2 equals to 0. This is the logic. We just construct the logic like this. If P modulus 2 equals to 0, what will be the front turn equals to P divided by 2, integer division. What if the value of P is odd? So if the value of P is odd, let's change the value of P to odd number. So in the above, we the value of P is even. Let's P 3. Let's find the front turn if the value of P is odd. To find the logic, to construct the logic to find front turn. In this case, 3 minus 1. What is the turning the front turn to arrive page 3? Page 3 from start page, only one page turn to arrive page 3. So front turn is 1, which means how it becomes p minus 1, which means 3 minus 1 divided by 2. The logic is that front turn equals 3 is the value of p, we replace by p minus 1 divided by 2. If p is odd and p modulus 2 equals to 1, which means if p modulus 2 equals to 1, then front turn is p minus 1 over 2. This is the logic. That's the logic to find the front turn. What if the student starts turning from the last page? If the student turning page 5, from page 5, they do not need to turn any page. How? Let's n is 5, only the last page is 5. To reach page 4, they don't need to turn any page, because page 5 and page 4 are printed in both sides. In the page 5 is printed in only one page, so they are in the same page 4 and 5 are parallel, so we don't need to turn any page to reach page 4. Only turn page 5. The last page is already printed. So that is what back turn. We can call it back turn. So back turn is 1. No, 0, because no need to turn any page, because they are in the same turn. So how can it become? We can to solve this. Which means 5 minus 4 divided by 2. It becomes 0, which means 5 minus 4 is 5 minus 4 is what? 1. Why 1 divided by 2 in integer division is what? 0. So the logic is that back turn equals to, we replace 5 by n minus 4 is the value of p divided by 2. What if the value of n is odd and n modulus 2 equals to 1, which means odd means any modulus number remainder is 1. So if n modulus 2 equals to 1, then back turn equals to n minus p divided by 2. This is the logic. What about if the value of n is odd? Let's change the value of n to odd. N equals even even n equals to 6. To arrive page 4, in this case, look in the above example, page 6 is printed in the single page, which means it is the last page. The last page only printed in single side. So the other side is hidden. So to arrive page 4, we need to turn one page to arrive page 4 in this case. So back turn is what? 1, because one page turn we can find the value of p. Now how it could be, which means 6 minus 4 plus 1 over 2. 6 minus 4 is 2, plus 1 is, so 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 0, but back turn is 1. So we add 1 here, which means we can add 1 to 6 minus 4. Now it becomes 1. So the logic is that back turn equals to we can replace this by the variable. 6 is what? N plus 1. The value of increase the value of 1 by the value of n by 1, then subtract the value of p divided by 2 if the n is even and n modulus 2 equals to 0. Therefore, if n modulus 2 equals to 0, back turn equals to n plus 1 minus p divided by 2. This is the logic. Now we found the value of front turn and back turn. So let's print out the minimum value from the two outputs. In this example, 5 and 4, what is the minimum value? So the minimum value in this example is 0. If we start turning from the front page, the value is 1 because the value of p is even. So we use this logic. So the value becomes 1. In the back turn, the value becomes if we start from the last page, the back page, the back turn becomes 0. So we use this logic. Therefore, from what is the minimum value from 1 and 0 is what? 0. So the minimum value is 0. So we can construct this logic by writing a program. You can use any programming language. This is the logic. You can use any programming language to solve this problem. But now I'm going to use a Python 3 to solve this problem. Let's see here. We can write our problems here. We can just copy this solve. If p is even, p modulus 2 equals to 1, which means p is odd. What is the front term? Equals to, let's copy here. If the value of p is odd, just we copy this p minus 1 divided by 2. P minus 1. We use double forward slash to perform integer division in Python 3. What if, which means if p modulus 2 is equals to 0, then front term equals to just p divided by 2. What about the back page? In this case, if the student starts turning from the front page, page 1, if the student starts turning from the last page, if n modulus 2 equals to 1, which means the value of n is odd, back term is, we can copy the logic from this here, odd, n minus p over 2, n minus p divided by integer division, then else, which means if n modulus 2 is equals to 0, then back term becomes, we can copy this logic, n plus 1 minus p divided by 2, n plus 1 minus p divided by 2. Sorry, this is unnecessary. Now let's return the minimum term. To return the minimum term, we just return, we use min function to find the minimum from front term and back term. We can use maximum to find the maximum value in Python 3, front term, then back term. Now we have finished our program. We can run this to check out our program is correctly run without error or not. Just click this one, run code, the below button, click here. Now the code is uploading and processing. Here, this message is displayed. You have passed the sample test 0. The input is 6 and 2, and your output is 1. Expected output is. So your output is exactly the same as the expected output. Now we can click the submit button to submit your solution. Here, let's click here. How many tests processing to perform this solution? 26 solutions. If your algorithm is exactly correctly constructed, so it must be passed all the test cases to starting from test case 0 up to test case 26. If it is correct, it just shows a green color. If there is, let's try. For example, if you miss +1 from this, what will be happen? Let's click submit. Here, from 27 test cases, 1 test is not successfully passed, which means the algorithm is missing 1 test case, which means so your score is degraded from the previous scores. Here 9.6 points from 10 points. So if your algorithm is correctly pass all tests, so you will get full mark. So in this case, you can add this, and you can resubmit this code. So this is all about this drawing book problem. You can solve many problems in this website, and you can practice. You can increase your rank from other participants. So this is all about. Thank you for watching.